Hi. So I wanted to do a quick meditation for New Year, and it's about. It's also got a short exercise in it. It's about kind of changing how we relate to intentions, goals, that sort of thing, and yeah, it's really kind of moving from a place of in our lives, moving from a place of sort of open-hearted connectedness, non-duality, just bringing that into how we relate to life and how we relate to the future and all of these sorts of things, so we can still be kind of thinking about like what we want in our lives and stuff like that, but yeah, it's not from a kind of external perspective of like New Year's resolutions or I'll be happy when I get this, or that sort of like conceptualization of a fixed self and a future that's going to happen. It's more like recognizing that we're these kind of fluid beings, and that it's we're only ever in the now. So we're going to start with a short exercise. So you need a pen and paper. Got my slightly like goofy notepad. Notes. It's a bit too. It's very intensely happy. Bit intense on a bad day. Googly eyes. Anyway, yeah. So we need a pen and paper, and basically I'm going to pause. Because I'm going to do it too. I think it'll help guide the meditation. I'm going to pause, and you need to set yourself 2-minute timer or check the clock and give yourself 2 minutes. And in that 2 minutes, I want you to just brainstorm all your favourite things from this year. So 2021, just like free write, list out really quickly the things where you felt like most joyful, most alive, most like yourself, and don't like second guess yourself, just whatever kind of comes. That's part of setting the timer. It's putting a bit of pressure on yourself to make sure that you're not like overthinking. So we will do that first. I will pause. Time for you to pause now as well, and then and one more thing is that 2021 has been a hard year for a lot of people, for most people that I know, and obviously worldwide, globally. So don't put pressure on yourself to find lots of things. It doesn't need to be like this extensive highlight reel of amazing things I've achieved or anything. It's more just like, even if it's tiny things that you've appreciated or felt grateful for, or really enjoyed, however small, then that's absolutely fine, and it doesn't need to be a super long list. It can be quite short. So no pressure, just be yourself and see what comes out, and then we will come back after that. Okay, so hopefully that was good and you found some nice things that you enjoyed from 2021. And just before we go on to the meditation, I just wanted to take a bit of time to reflect on what it was that you wrote down, because having done this exercise with lots of people, it's interesting to notice how different everyone's sort of lists are, the things that really they appreciate in life. And that's part of the reason to do this, is to really tune into what it is in life that are the things that you really appreciate, because then it's like, if you know that as a starting place, rather than sort of like going through this kind of conceptual, it's like, oh, if I get this and then this happens and then this happens, then I will hopefully feel like this, which is a sort of thought process that kind of often happens subconsciously. It's going right to the bit of these things make me feel good, make me feel alive. So starting from that place, which is more centered, more gives us more presence. There's less of a sort of duality between, like I need to get all these things, and more just like being here and experiencing. So if you start from that place of experience that you connect to and enjoy, then it flows much more naturally. You're much more kind of in touch. The reason I started that is because everyone's version of that is unique and different. The things that where they feel kind of closest to life, most in touch, will be different for each person. So just take a moment to like think about you might have noticed this as you were doing it, but just think about your list. Like, what were the themes that came up that were obviously kind of like the things that you love in life. So for example, I'm like a total people person. All of mine are to do with people all the time. That would be, like I say, that would be different for everyone. And I just wanted to kind of reflect and suggest like some categories of things that might have come up. And one of the things that can be interesting is to notice what's missing as much as what's there. So an example is like career. It's super important to me that I'm like stimulated and kind of intellectually engaged with what I'm doing, but for me, like career isn't I'm never like, oh, I got a promotion, I'm really happy about that. Whereas I know like other people, it's like really important to them that their career is progressing, and that sort of will come up for them. So some categories, and I'll put these in the description underneath as well. Some categories of things that might come up are career and work, your sort of physical environment and things that you own, so like possessions, your attitude and personality. So maybe you've made some changes this year, some positive changes, and you feel proud of that or grateful for that. Health and well-being, pleasure and fun, learning and interests, relationships, so friends, family, colleagues, love life, service and community, and spirituality. And it's not on there, but on my list there, but I will add nature as well, being in nature. It's worth like noticing what naturally came to the front, and where you're naturally drawn to, noticing what's missing, what got overlooked, what didn't get included. You could maybe, if you wanted, like pause and spend a bit more time, give yourself 5 minutes to like look at the categories, see if there's anything that you want to include or anything you want to change. It's obviously not set in stone, and sometimes we don't want to be like second guessing and putting things on the list because we think they should be on there, or because we think other people think they should be on there. Getting into that, it's like giving yourself time to really reflect on what gives you joy and what's important to you in life. It's a really worthwhile thing to do. So opportunity here to pause and just revisit the list. Maybe I will do that quickly now as well, and then we'll go into a guided meditation around some of this stuff, this sort of like open-hearted connecting, the sort of non-duality of intentions, the sense of a kind of these things that are important to us that create a sense of a fluid self that we can guide and interact with the world with, and know what's important to us. So take a few minutes, reflect on your list, use the categories, just have a think about it, and then we'll come back and do guided meditation together. Okay, so perhaps you've spent a bit more time reflecting on your list, and yeah, we'll just go straight in to the meditation from here. So let's start by taking a moment. You can close your eyes or have them open, whatever you prefer. But just taking a moment to arrive where you are, wherever that is, wherever you're listening to this. Take some nice deep breaths into the belly so the belly expands. And out through the nose. Nice long, slow out breath through the nose. Just noticing if these breaths are just relaxing you a bit. If there's any tension lifting or more presence coming into the room. Noticing how it changes your body and your experience. Not needing anything to be different right now, so any stress, any tension, any difficulties, very welcome, as well as any joy that's come up from reflecting. And we'll just take some time to concentrate ourselves a little. So we'll just count to 5 breaths and we'll do it 3 times. And you can put your attention anywhere on the breath that feels most absorbing for you, so nostrils, throat, lungs, belly, the whole thing. Find a spot that feels pleasant, that feels a nice place to be hanging out. And your breaths they can be natural. There's an invitation for them to be nice and slow, but they can just be natural speed, whatever speed they want to go. And we'll count to 5 3 times, staying with the spot that feels most pleasant. And if you lose count at any point, you can just start back at 1. And as you count, just staying with the pleasantness and letting experience be flooded. Finding a sense of safety and pleasantness in that place where you're focusing as you count. And we'll just do one big deep breath into the body, the sense of the body, whatever that feels like to you now. Breathe into the body, the energy body, the physical body, however it feels. And breathe out, getting some fresh air moving through. And we'll do the same with the heart, so again, whatever the heart space means to you. Breathing into that space, big deep breath in. And then breathing out as if it's fresh air circulating through. And then breathing into the mind, however that feels for you, wherever that feels like it is. And breathing out, getting the fresh air circulating through. And just trusting that our breath can keep that fresh air circulating through all those places for us. And I want to start by just bringing a sense of that list to mind. So the list that you made, just allowing it to arise in your consciousness, in your awareness, and just be present here with us. In whatever form that takes. So you might see the list that you've written, the words. You might get images that are being evoked of these memories. It might be something more abstract than that comes to mind. However this arises for you, just bring it and sort of place it somewhere in the experience, or allow it to place itself. So, it might be in front of you, it might be in the middle of your mind. And then we're going to allow that to be there, but almost just sort of notice how diffuse it is. So notice that this list is not something that's fixed. You can relate to it in lots of different ways. You can imagine it in lots of different ways, visualize it, be aware of it. And it's almost like when you look at clouds and you see images in the clouds, it's like that's kind of what the list is in your mind. And we're just going to notice that diffuseness. And then we're going to drop down. So drop down from the mind and into the heart space. And from here we want to stay connected to the idea of the list, or the things that were on the list, maybe is a better way to put it. But rather than being these fixed ideas that we have, we visualize in some way, it's more like this very sort of open, nebulous feeling space. So rather than visualizing the thing we appreciate it, we're connecting directly with a feeling sense of appreciation, for example. And that might come with images or colours or like imaginal content. And that's super welcome and really nice to kind of notice the details of and feel into. But it's almost the driving force is the core feeling that's at the centre. So some things we might feel are appreciation, gratitude, pride, love, connection, beauty, presence, joy, humour, eros, passion, aliveness, truth, freedom, expansiveness, strength, purpose, just taking some time to feel into whatever it is for you and allow those feelings to be present. And if you get lost at any point, you can come back to the heart space as a base. So if you're sort of getting pulled out of yourself, just coming back to the center, making sure that it's the core of your joy, your connection that you're feeling. If you're getting pulled up into your head, into thoughts and thinking, just dropping down into the heart center. And using the breath to stay with that. And there can be some natural flow, so a feeling might arise and it might create some images which pull us up into our heads a bit, and as we notice we can kind of breathe that in, and as we breathe out just let it go, let it dissipate in that sort of empty, nebulous way, and come back into the heart center. In the same, we might get pulled out into sort of connecting to other things, other people, and that's fine. We can kind of expand out, and then as we breathe in, just like come back into us, come back into our center and connect with that more kind of feeling aspect of what these things that you most appreciated in 2021 mean to you. And now we're going to drop further down. So from here, we're going to drop down from the heart and into the belly. So maybe taking a moment to take a nice deep breath so that the belly expands. And then feeling sort of energetically into a spot. Energetically and imaginally finding a spot in the belly that feels like somewhere you can connect with. And from this place we're going to let go of the feelings so they can still sort of be there on that heart layer. So you've got the kind of cloud of nebulous images or writing or whatever, however the list shows in the mind. Dropping down into the heart, there's a more sort of emotional kind of feeling tone of how we relate to these things. And that can still be there, but we're just going to sort of let it go, not put our attention on it. And then we're going to drop into the belly. From here it's sort of feeling into almost like what is even further underneath those feelings. And it's a sense of just like the hum of you and the universe. It's like the dance of you and your life. Feeling into a sense of how that feels when it's going well. So these moments that you've picked out as moments when you felt good, just noticing like what's the tone of your hum. Which parts of the universe around you are you appreciating, are you connecting with? Is it other universe beings? Is it nature? And rather than sort of getting caught up in any of the details or the feelings or what's going on, just really tuning into that sense of this ever-changing, flowing dance or river of life force that's moving through you, moving through the world. Creating things, destroying things. Pleasure, pain, light, dark, not getting caught into any of the things or making any things, just feeling that like hum and flow. From this place we can totally let go of a sense of a self, fixed self. Each moment is just like a part of the river of life flowing. The memories being co-created with everything around it. The moment here of us sitting together, feeling into that. The future that's going to emerge, it's all just this universal hum. And just trusting that and allowing it to take you where it wants to take you. Again, if you get lost in thought, you can just remember that the thoughts can dissipate. If you get caught up in feelings, the feelings are very welcome. We can just make space for them. And we can just drop in to what's underneath them. Remember that underneath even the worst feelings and the best feelings, underneath somewhere is this universal hum. And we can use the breath into the belly as a place to connect with. And then finally, when we're ready, it's almost like we want to just pop out of all of that and into the body. So doing some deep breaths into the whole body, almost as if the fresh air is reaching every corner, every part. From the top of your head and further, if your body feels like it goes further, to the tips of your toes and further. You may find that the body feels very boundaryless if you've been deeply connected to the hum of the universe. So we don't need to bring in any fixed ideas or fixed boundaries of what the body is. But we just want to connect with whatever it feels like right now. And just taking some time to appreciate the vessel that we are given in this lifetime to experience all these things. Maybe noticing how there's so much pressure in our society and the way we are taught in based on how we look, so how we look physically or how we are perceived from a status perspective. And instead just taking some time to connect from the inside and appreciate that. And we'll do a few more breaths. And when we come back around, I'd invite you to use this space. So now we've spent some time really connecting into the things that were really important to you in 2021 and really understanding that on the different levels of our being, what they meant to you. I'd invite you to spend a little bit of time thinking about the year ahead and where you'd like to focus your energy, where you'd like to focus your intention. And you can do this however comes naturally, so you can write a list, or you could draw some pictures of you. You could choose some intention feelings, so from that more heart space, connecting into like the core feelings that you want to evoke in your life. Or you could think about what your unique hum is in the universe. Like, when are you in flow? When are you alive? How would you describe that? And what are the situations that create flow states for you? So, maybe it's worth just considering all those aspects. And I will put a list of intention feelings in the description below if you want some inspiration. And I think generally as a visualization, it's the way I like to imagine it is almost as if it's like you're a plant and the seeds are there already. You've created the seeds on the fruits. You've from the fruits of your labour of 2021, you've got a bunch of fruits and they've got a bunch of seeds in them. And it's almost just like, connecting with the seeds, giving them the conditions that they need to thrive, making sure they're nicely planted, they've got some space, giving them your care and attention, and allowing things to naturally flow from there. So it's not a case of putting pressure on yourself to achieve anything or manifest anything or anything like that. It's more like tuning into your natural being and allowing yourself to flourish. So when you're ready, if you haven't yet, you can open your eyes. You can have a stretch, if that feels good. And yes, I would recommend giving yourself some time, even if it's just, again, like 2 minutes, 5 minutes timer, to just get a sense of where you want to focus for the year ahead, what feels important, where your energy wants to go, the things you want to cultivate more of that will give you more joy, that will allow you to be more yourself. Enjoy.